Don't let anybody try to define or dictate how you feel about yourself. You get to decide that.
Like, this is so sad, brother. You're a bad person for making someone feel this way. That's it. What? Heard a trans dude beat a woman in a boxing match at the Olympics today? I doubt that they let a man fight a woman. I think you're trying to say a trans woman beat a cis woman or something, but having a hard time coming to terms with that. She isn't even trans. Oh, really? It's not even, is a cis woman? Nice. She's not even trans. She just has high testosterone. Classic. Yeah. Great stuff. Look at this. People constantly asking what a woman, what is a woman? Surprisingly, they don't know what a woman actually is. Iman Khalif is a cis woman with naturally higher levels of testosterone. She's competed for years in boxing with no issues. Meet Imane Khalif, a boxer who was banned from the Women's World Boxing Championship because he's a man. However, Khalif is being allowed to compete in the Women's Olympic boxing in Paris. Just another reason to boycott the Olympics. Just more normal stuff from the normal party being normal. Nick Merckx had a meltdown over this. Yes, dude. Nick Merckx is a perfect representation of what I talk about all the time. Okay? He is a guy who was like a regular dude who probably thought like trans people are kind of weird or whatever. And then he started watching Matt Walsh videos and actively radicalized himself into being this like weird freak who constantly thinks about trans people. Trans people are constantly on the mind, on the top of mind for him. He went down the pipeline and it's only going to get worse. If someone who loves him, who's in his life, doesn't tell him like, bro, you need to stop. Like you're being weird. You're being weird as why are you constantly talking about trans people? You got to stop. You're scaring the hoes. If someone doesn't do that, okay, he is going to inevitably go down this pipeline and reach the final stage. The final stage, of course, being the transvestigation stage, where you're just like literally suspecting family members of being trans and shit. Okay, that's where you inevitably arrive at because it's a mental illness. Go to her wiki. It literally says 7 words in. She then represented Algeria, where she ranked 33rd. Oh, 7th word is she. Ultimately, the reason why like every anti-trans person inevitably arrives at transvestigation is because of the reality that gender is expression based. Okay, it's not like scientific, and it's certainly not a binary. Even the biological understanding of gender is outdated if you consider that to be male female as a binary. Okay, like outdated in scientific literature, and that's the problem. So if gender is simply a mechanism of expression and it's not a binary, after all, I myself am 6'4", 230 pounds, and I'm a man. Ben Shapiro also is a man. He can't grow facial hair. His voice doesn't sound all that manly, if you want to consider it under the rigid norms, rigid binary of gender. And he's like 5'3" with a very waifish physique. If we're both men, and we are both men, right? Cis men, as a matter of fact, then that should help you understand that like maybe it's not as binary as you think it is. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, gender is also simply the expression that you choose beyond your sex. Okay, this is precisely the reason why you can't really tell who's trans and who's not trans, and that's why anyone who actively claims they can always tell end up yelling at a whole bunch of cis women and claim that a whole bunch of cis women are actually trans. That's why transvestigations inevitably happen when you go down that pipeline and you think anyone could be trans. Technically, I suspect anyone and everyone could be trans. Yeah, this is my legendary tweet on it. Masculinity and femininity exist. Outward indicators of masculinity and femininity exist in nearly every human culture. Boys are taught to be more masculine in virtually every human culture because the role of men is not always the same as the role of women. 3.6 thousand likes. Ben, you're 5'3", can't grow facial hair, and weigh 100 pounds soaking wet. If we can both be considered men, you should probably be a bit more open-minded about gender expressions. It's clearly not as rigid a binary as you try to imply it is. 132,000. This is before Twitter was cucked. This ratio is so brutal, so devastating. Can you imagine a ratio like this happening on Twitter nowadays? No. Yeah. I altered the trajectory of Ben Shapiro's life with this take so hard. He started growing facial hair afterwards. I'm a cis woman who constantly gets mistaken for a man since I was super young. These trans folks barely know what they're talking about. Exactly. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just like, there's no rigid rules here. And people that try to act like there are, oftentimes don't even fit the societal roles that they claim. Like, does anybody think Ben Shapiro is like a super masculine guy? Like, what are we talking about? It's reductive to equate gender to gender expression, though, just saying. Oh, gender is most closely associated with the expression. That is the way that people, I know that there's an internal expression, internal experience as well. Please stop being annoying. I'm talking to intro level people, okay? Introductory conversations surrounding gender in the easiest way to understand is going to be had in the way that I'm having it, not in the way that you want to have it, okay? Dude, come on. I've been doing this for 10 years at this point. Please let me do this. I have de-radicalized and actively made transphobic people not be transphobic for the past 10 years. One of the most successful things I'm able to do. Please let me do this, please. All right, I know what I'm doing. Anyway,
I'm gonna be very real here for a second. As you can probably tell, I've been crying a little bit. I always get these comments, but like recently it kind of ramped up. I get comments being called a man and being called masculine and asking if I'm on steroids. There will always be negative people out there, and they put women in a box, and they think of women should be fragile and petite and quiet and meek, but that's not the case. Women can be strong, and they can have broad shoulders, and they can take up space, and they can be big. I think I'm getting emotional because I feel very passionate about this. Don't let anybody try to define or dictate how you feel about yourself. You get to decide that.
like, this is so sad, brother. You're just like dickhead. You know what I mean? You're just a dickhead. You're a bad person for making someone feel this way. That's it. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like you're a bully. You're a loser. You are a sad, pathetic worm. And your existence on this planet is so sad every day that you have to make other people feel bad. Okay. And you closely associate that bullying with like political praxis. This is what it's like to be a right winger. Okay. That's what it is. It's just vice signaling all the time, making it seem like when you bully people that you think are worse than you, that you categorize as weaker than you, that you categorize as like marginalized, and then you pounce on them, you feel like you've done some shit, you know? Weirdo MAGA freaks, transvestigated American rugby star and Olympian Ilona Maher, and God bless her for calling out these creeps. Keep calling these conservative assholes weird because they are, and they're going to lose in November because of it. Like, think about that. Think about that. That's so stupid. Like, people are so incredibly brain broken, especially online, that they think that they can say whatever the they want without their name or face being associated with it, that they just run around showcasing the worst of humanity.
I think you were trying to roast me, but this is actually a fact. I do have a BMI of 30. Well, 29.3 more.
To be very real here for a second, as you can probably tell, I've been crying a little.
Overweight my whole life. In middle school, elementary school, high school, I was always considered overweight. I remember vividly one time in high school, I did turn in a physical to the office, and right at the bottom of the page, it said overweight. And I was so embarrassed.
Me too. I mean, I was actually fat though. But even still to this day, my BMI says I'm overweight. Actually, let's look at it right now. 230 pounds. BMI calculator. Let's see. Calculate your body mass index. I am 6'4". Yeah, I'm on the top. My BMI right now is 28.0. I'm at the end of overweight. I'm almost obese. BMI of 30 or greater is obese. BMI is an incredibly outdated mechanism for trying to figure out whether you're healthy or not. Can you imagine looking at someone like myself and being like, he is incredibly overweight? It's ridiculous. It does not account for actual like muscle mass. It does not take muscle mass into consideration. This is me this morning, working out, looking yacked, okay? My BMI says I'm almost obese. I'm near obese. Yo, how do I look like that? Keep working out. Why is your delt definition so insane? Is it? Are you pumped in this photo? I mean, this is probably towards the end of my workout, but I'm not like flexing or anything. Narcissistic arc of HasanAbi streams are really off-putting. Will Neff is my league of his own. Brother, your username is dedicated to Will Neff, my best friend, who literally loves himself even more than I do. Have you watched a Will Neff stream? Like, that's crazy. You just said I'm being narcissistic and off-putting. Will Neff has never had a moment where his shirt is not off, okay? Like, you're like, no, it's fine. It's fine when he does it. I just don't like it when you do it. Yeah, but Will is endearing. Exactly. It's endearing when he does it. Hello, human resources when Hasan does it. Anyway.